Walter Smith on the right. Enjoying a chat there as they lead out the two teams. A big day too for the two mascots. The Airdrie mascot is Stephen Hannon and the Rangers mascot Stuart Angus. So there are the two teams emerging for the cup final and receiving a huge welcome. The Rangers fans on the west of the stadium, new west stand, and around the enclosure, and the Airdrie fans out in numbers on the east terracing. And it's party time already for these Airdrie supporters. So there's young Stuart Angus from Cumnock in Ayrshire, 10 years old, standing there for the opening ceremonies. His favourite player is Mark Hateley, and he's a very promising left winger. So it's a very big occasion for him, and too for young Stephen Hannon. He's 12 years old, looks a little bit more laid back. Caldervale High School is his education establishment, and he too is a very keen player. His grandfather, in fact, was the Airdrie manager Archie Wright, whom Billy McNeil, I'm certain, will remember very well indeed.
Yes, I do indeed remember Archie, but it's a lovely occasion for this young man and indeed for the Rangers mascot, because it is a big occasion, it's a glamorous occasion, and they must enjoy it to the full.
So the presentation of the SFA President Peter Gardner and the Tenants Director John Hamilton by Jim Parry through Walter Smith, the Rangers manager. So the introduction of the players. They go down the line, these tense moments for the players, certainly moments they do not relish. They'd rather see this all over and get down to the serious business. Mark Hateley playing in a Scottish Cup final for the first time. He's played in the French Cup final for Monaco and the Italian Cup final for AC Milan, and been in the losing side on each occasion. So Hateley trying to avoid a hat-trick of cup final defeats in various countries in Europe. So the officials now being introduced with the mascot. So that was hope as the culmination of an excellent season of refereeing. He's been undoubtedly one of the top officials in the country throughout the season, and following his brother, who was a referee in the 1987 final between Swinburne and Dundee United, and he's clearly enjoying himself hugely. Well, the new Airdrie captain, Sandy Stewart, introducing his men. Well, it's unfamiliar territory this for the Airdrie captain. Hasn't had too many chances to do this, Sandy Stewart. And Paul Jack smiling to the SFA president. Gus Caesar started his career with Arsenal, so he's been in plenty of big matches. So through to Gus Caesar there, who looked to be an outstanding defender, Billy, early in his career with Arsenal, and then seemed to lose his way a little to go to Bristol City and then up here to Airdrie.
Yes, he certainly was a promising young defender with Arsenal some years ago. That his career hasn't perhaps taken off just quite the manner of which everyone expected, but he's a big solid lad, and he'll give it his all tonight, I'm sure.
So the teams break for their respective ends, and we'll have a look here at the Airdrie team confirmation. No Jimmy Sanderson, no Kenny Black, and sadly for Sammy Cohen, injury has denied him his cup final opportunity. So the Airdrie team had to be rebuilt rather. Paul Jack has come in, and apart from that, Gus Caesar had a chance to play in central defence. Andy Smith and Wes Reid are the substitutes. So for Walter Kidd, a very important occasion, one which I reckon he didn't expect to have the chance to savour following his departure from Hearts last season after 14 years service, in the memory of the misfortune to be ordered off in the 1986 Cup final when he played for Hearts against Aberdeen. So he'll be anxious to put that behind him this afternoon. So the Rangers line-up showing that there are no places in the starting line-up for Dale Gordon, for Peter Haustra. Paul Ryder also is on the bench, and that's a very powerful Rangers line-up, with Ian Durrant completing a fine comeback to top-class football by being in the starting line-up this afternoon. But for Ali McCoist, the chance for the first time to pick up a Scottish Cup winners' medal. That would be the culmination of a wonderful season. He scored 38 times for Rangers this season, and he'll be very anxious indeed to add to that total this afternoon. The Football Writers Player of the Year. He's in the international squad for Sweden. He's won another league championship medal, and the Cup winners' medal is the only thing missing. A magnificent season. So the exchange of pennants. Richard Gough, the Rangers captain, has already been here with Rangers and with Dundee United and losing finals, and he also captained Tottenham Hotspur against Coventry City in a losing FA Cup final back in 1987, so he too has a point to prove in this season's final. So the referee, that was Hope Raskin, reporter to the children's panel, 47 years old, 10 seasons, a Grade 1 official, and ideally suited for this his big moment, refereeing the Scottish Cup final. So Rangers fans waiting expectantly. It's now 14 years since they enjoyed a double winning season, and they'll be looking for the climax of the season this afternoon. The Rangers will kick off. So the 107th Scottish Cup final is underway, and the Rangers send the ball straight back to Andy Gorham to give him an early touch, and he has the chance to launch one of those long balls downfield. Mark Hateley underneath that, well challenged by Gus Caesar, and the ball played long for Alan Lawrence, catching the Airdrie striker offside. He's a major problem on these fast breaks by Airdrie. He's very quick indeed up front, Lawrence, and he'll be joined principally, I think, by Owen Coyle in attack. So Richard Gough with the free kick for Rangers. Helped on by Mikalichenko. Here's Jimmy Boyle. Brown calls to Spackman to leave that, and Hateley was slow coming back, and already it's established, I think, Billy, that Paul Jack will sweep for Airdrie.
It looks very much like that at the minute, and Gus Caesar will pick up Mark Hateley, and Walter Kidd, as we anticipated, will pick up Alan McCoy's. Interesting enough from Airdrie's point of view, Gus Caesar getting a good header early on against Mark Hateley, and I always used to enjoy that as a centre-half, and I think it's an important thing to happen for Airdrie.
So the first psychological blow struck there by Gus Caesar defensively in his marking chore on Hateley. So Airdrie filtering back to defend, and we anticipate they may do quite a lot of that early on to avoid the blow of an early goal. David Kirkwood operating wide on the right. Here's Lawrence, hustled there by Brown. That was a foul by the Rangers central defender. So it's Jimmy Boyle playing it forward early. Gough was alive to that. Spackman playing across here for Stevens. Stuart McCall couldn't get there ahead of Sandy Stewart. Good tackle there by Stevens. This is Spackman. And down goes McCoy. He's tackled heavily from the rear by Walter Kidd. So it's a very daunting task that for Kidd to look after McCoy all afternoon. And then McCoy has scored 3 cup goals in the campaign so far, and leaves him 2 behind Jerry Craney in the race to be leading scorer in the cup. Mark Hateley going hurtling in there. John Martin will be happy to have that first little piece of involvement over. Coping very capably there, with Hateley putting him under pressure. And Robertson up against Kirkwood. Spackman with Balfour. There's McCall. That's fine play by McCall. Stevens breaking on the right. Durant appears to have been given a free roll, and he's been picked up in the early stages by Jimmy Boyle. That's aim for Stevens, who's well forward, and tackled firmly there by Paul Jack. Well, that crunching challenge, making certain there was no dangerous cross for John Martin to cope with. Paul Jack signed from Arbroath, versatile player. He can play full-back in midfield, and this afternoon at sweeper. Mikalichenko will take the corner kick. Gough and Hateley on the 18-yard line. That's towards the near post. Had to be headed away firmly and safely there by Stewart. Here's Mikalichenko, and trying to beat Martin at the near post. There's plenty of support waiting in the middle, but Mikalichenko, I think, tried to surprise the goalkeeper with this effort. You see him checking inside here, and Martin protecting that near post at all costs.
Lovely piece of skill from Mikhailichenko, and confident as anything. Took the player on lovely, opened up about the goal for himself. Unfortunately, didn't hit the target.
Helped on there by Honor, and played straight to the feet of Spackman there by Stewart. Still no way through the middle though. Airdrie grouping well in defence through the centre. So they've had to reorganise somewhat. Chris Honor playing in a midfield role, pushing forward on Mikhailichenko. There they are together. Sandy Stewart also with that task of holding a position there on Stuart McCall. Caesar getting that out of Airdrie, but this is Stevens. Good running by Mikhailichenko. This time trying to play the ball in early. Dragged away to safety there by Jack. Goff keeps the ball in play. A very safe pass back there by Jimmy Boyle. He knows this surface very well indeed, because he joined Airdrie from Queen's Park 3 years ago. So playing a lot of his football on this pitch before his transfer. Kirkwood got up well there. That's for Coyle to chase. Goff with a cross. Well, an alarming moment there for the Rangers defence. Davy Kirkwood getting up so well for that little head flick on. Richard Goff has a word or two to say to his teammates. John Brown was the player beaten there, and Coyle had a very fleeting chance there.
Walter Smith has come up with surprising tactics in actual fact, because Ian Durrant's playing on the left-hand side with Mikhailichenko on the right-hand side. I honestly don't think that Airdrie, or indeed anyone else, would have anticipated that one goal.
And there are lots of instructions, I can tell you, coming from the Airdrie dugout below us, because they're having to cope with that surprising formation. So homework done by Walter Smith and Archie Knox, the Rangers management team, to perplex Airdrie in the early stages. So it's all rather muted at the moment here at Hampden. Neither set of supporters really in full voice as yet. It is Spackman trying to use the pace of David Robertson, but Kirkwood was covering that move. And he's gone back, all the pass back to John Martin. So John McVeigh on his feet, the Airdrie assistant manager, conveying the instructions, that earpiece, his contact point with Alec MacDonald in the stand. Again, Kirkwood got up well to that. There's Gary Stevens. Head clash there. Davy Kirkwood's on the ground. It hasn't recovered. His own Coyle breaks on the left. And John Brown is there to turn that to safety. At the expense of a throw near the corner flag. And Davy Kirkwood is still crouched there, holding his head. Took a blow there as he won that high ball. And the referee now will allow treatment, sensibly. Well, Kirkwood has done well with a couple of early headers, playing wide on the right-hand side, marking David Robertson, preventing any fast breaks by the fullback. So there's serious damage for Evan Balfour. He too was up for that high ball, and he, I'm sure, will have to leave the field, at least for a spell, to get that cleaned up. Bill Collins, the Rangers physio, has come on to attend to him, because there's attention required also for Davy Kirkwood. So Balfour will have to leave the field for the moment to have the blood removed. Under the FIFA regulations, any blood-stained player must be cleaned up before he can return. So Airdrie continue with 10 men. Spackman's header. Swept away by Stevens. And Walter Kidd going for that in determined fashion. He's a new lease of life for Walter Kidd, who spent his career at Tynecastle as a right back, but has turned out to be a very effective marking central defender. Evan Balfour is down below us now, anxious to come back on. Plaster on his head. The referee will have to wait perhaps until play is halted. The referee has spotted Balfour, but he won't allow him back on the field as yet. Now he's allowed him back. As Goff plays it forward, there's McCoist. Turning and jinking away from Walter Kidd. No real power in the shot though. Tried to chip one beyond John Martin and advanced off his line. The keeper calms things down. There's Balfour. Couldn't get to that. In goes Goff. There's Kirkwood. Durant comes back to challenge. So Alan Lawrence is on the ground this time for Airdrie. He's holding his head as he gets back to his feet. The throw there from Robertson. This is Mikhalichenko. Holding off Chris Honor, his marker. Durant back to Mikhalichenko. Such a good touch on the ball normally, Mikhalichenko. That pass though inaccurate, allowing Boyle to play through the middle to catch Owen Coyle offside. Coyle is the Airdrie top scorer of the season with 14 goals, a very good return in his first season in Premier Division football. Consistent level for Airdrie. There's Hafley going for that. He's well challenged by Caesar. There's still danger for Airdrie as McCall tries to turn that towards goal. But another very good challenge, Billy, by Caesar on Hafley.
Yes, he's a determined boy, and he's getting up there. He's putting in a good challenge here. He didn't allow Mark Hafley to get a clear touch of the ball. Almost a little error there. Nice little bit of idea from Stuart McCall, but obviously too high. Interestingly enough, before the game started, I would have thought Ian Durant would have been given a free role. It looks as though Mikhalichenko has been given that role, and Ian Durant's going to play a more positive role on the left-hand side.
So Jimmy Boyle, who is marking Ian Durant, been getting lots of advice from the dugout from John McVeigh. Here's David Robertson, his first chance in the match to demonstrate the length of his throw. Looking for Hafley. Cleared by Jack. This is Kirkwood, he couldn't control that. A little bit of dampness on the surface, which may prove troublesome. And the offside flag up against Mark Hafley. So Hafley has certainly been offering lots of mobility up front early on for Rangers. Closely marked by Gus Caesar there. Headed away by Brown. Caesar again, first to the ball, ahead of Hafley. Jack. Well, he won't be happy with that pass. It was intended to pick up Alan Lawrence, who had broke into the right flank. So Jack falling there to Davy Kirkwood. Didn't like his positioning for the moment. So Airdrie have certainly set the problems for Rangers, which the Ibrox men are trying now to solve. Good running there by Brown. And the last challenge with a vital one. There's Mikhalichenko. And Ali McCoist complaining bitterly there to Mikhalichenko that he was in the clear to receive a pass in the inside right position. And Mikhalichenko going for this with his weaker foot, the right. But it was Brown who opened up the Airdrie defence with that surging run. He then tried to thread that through from McCoist. It broke back for Mikhalichenko. You can see McCoist there in the clear.
Yeah, McCoist will be just a little bit disappointed that Mikhalichenko didn't pass to him, but I think the temptation for a shot from the edge of the box is always there, and he came on to it. Unfortunately for him, it was his wrong foot.
Durant lays it back. Airdrie funnel off the Rangers back four as soon as Goff or Brown in possession. The Airdrie players rock right back deep into their own half. A foul there by Coyle on Goff. Coyle trying to go across and shut off Gary Stevens whenever Rangers have possession deep inside their own half. It's all been carefully thought out before the match by Ali MacDonald and John McVeigh, the Airdrie management team. Their entire line-up this afternoon costing less than £500,000. Here's Alan Lawrence. That's good play by Lawrence. Very confident play by Alan Lawrence, and that was the first clear opening of the match. And the Rangers defence certainly looked to be just a little bit slack here as Lawrence kept on coming, turning and twisting there to fool John Brown, and the shot wasn't far away.
Yes, it's a good piece of skill from Alan Lawrence. This is him at his best, running at a defender, good bit of pace, shows composure, goes across the face of a defender and not all that far away with his shot.
There's Mikhailchenko. And good work done again by David Kirkwood, halting the progress of David Robertson. Former Rangers player Kirkwood, albeit briefly. Sees it again, getting up well against Hateley. And that snap chance falling to Mark Hateley as he fell over, but he certainly knows he's going to have a tough match this afternoon against Gus Caesar.
Yes, Airdrie started, obviously when Rangers have the ball, they filter back and they try to deny Stevens room on the right-hand side, and Kirkwood is preventing Robertson from breaking in this side. But when they get the ball, either Owen Coyle or Alan Lawrence, they're trying to get right on the shoulder of either central defender. We saw Alan Lawrence get the break there, pick up the ball and run at John Brown. I think that's what their tactics are going to be.
Coyle hoisting it forward, but the Rangers back four holding its line and leaving Lawrence and Coyle offside as we approach the 15-minute mark. And for Airdrie, I reckon so far things going according to plan. They've avoided a very early goal, and that was the first task facing the Broomfield men. Walter Smith looking a little bit stern there, looking on. And it's well taken by Martin. Paul Jack offers himself ahead and allows the Airdrie players to take a breather and push upfield. John Martin, 12 years the Airdrie goalkeeper, came from Tranent Juniors. Real character in goal and a very effective player in the Airdrie season, which has been so successful. And David Robertson quite content to let that run for a goal kick to Rangers. But some very interesting confrontations on the field. John Martin still to be seriously tested in the match, and he'll be happy to have overcome the opening nervous moments. Sandy Gorham's first Scottish Cup final. Boyle up there with Durant. Here's Hateley. Tackle was made by Balfour. It breaks for Spackman. Here's Mikhailchenko trying to help that on for Durant. Coyle going back there. He'd been marking Gary Stevens whenever Rangers had possession. So really the only Airdrie player with no defensive duties appears to be Alan Lawrence. Playing right through the middle, trying to pose problems for Gough and Brown. Caesar getting up well again, competing physically in the air with Hateley. He was being penalised that time. Free kicks already taken. There's Durant. Stevens finding space, faced by Coyle. 10 Airdrie players now facing the ball. Only Lawrence in the centre circle, and a misunderstanding there between Stevens and Durant. Durant wanted the ball to feet, and Stevens thought he was going to make a run on the right flank. Gough put his head to that. There's Spackman. Once again, David Robertson being followed by Kirkwood. Good cover provided also by Paul Jack. That's a free kick. David Robertson going in late on Paul Jack. Well, a very unhappy semi-final when he's all it off after just 6 minutes against Celtic. But this time he was frustrated, I think, by the fact that the pass didn't run for him. Paul Jack taking it across his bows. There's Brown. Mikhailchenko's header. McCall across to Stevens. Durant going forward on the right. Durant now trying to find a teammate inside. It's McCoy finds. Back from Stevens to McCall. There's no one on the left. Robertson has stayed deep. Marked by Kirkwood. Got up well there by Stewart. Spackman and a challenge there. It breaks kindly for Rangers. There's Stevens. McCoy's dummy. There's McCall. And Jimmy Boyle steps in. Fine move that though by Rangers. McCoy's dummy set up the chance to open up the Airdrie defence. Kirkwood getting the better of David Robertson there. He's not very tall, Davy Kirkwood, but he does time his leaps well. He's done a good job so far in pinning down David Robertson when Rangers have the ball. It's been a feature of the play, Billy, that the Rangers fullbacks really haven't had a chance to come forward.
No, there isn't any real width about Rangers at the moment, and they can't get their fullbacks out of defence. On this side, Kirkwood has done a smashing job, but Owen Coyle has been asked to break from his centre forward spot and go across there and accommodate Gary Stevens. It takes a lot of fitness to do that, and I wonder if it will take from him a little bit of positive front running that you would expect from a centre forward.
So further tinkering tactically by Rangers. Durant has now moved to the right-hand side of a three-man midfield with Spackman and McCall who hold the middle, and Sandy Stewart has taken over the duty of looking after Durant. Kalichenko still with that free roll. Here's McCoist leading that to Durant. Played in early and won by Jack. Kirkwood getting it just ahead of Brown. Could have been nasty, but neither player seriously hurt, although both Brown and Kirkwood took a knock there. Haley's head up, looking for McCoist. And the challenge was made by Walter Kidd. A very important one, that right inside the penalty box, where McCoist is at his most dangerous. But here's the combination. Haley getting up for this, looking for McCoist, and Kidd did an excellent defensive job. Durant taking the short corner this time to Spackman. Goff is there with Haley. Both up for that, and a missed kick by McCoist. Must have seen that very late indeed there. Stuart McCall. Martin is fully committed to this. Well, needed two chances to hold the ball, but he certainly solved any problems for his teammates in defence. Well, Ali McCoist had that snap chance there, but he couldn't get his left foot on the ball. Goff's head up. There's McCall. Kalichenko allowing on off the challenge for that in the air, and the free kick's been given for the foul by Boyle on McCall. It's a new duel created by the Rangers tactical alteration. Boyle with McCall this time. Spackman forward. There's Sandy Stewart with Ian Durant. Durant looking for a foul there. He's not going to get one though. Jack plays it from defence. There's John Brown. So Airdrie performing their containing job so far, Billy, extremely well.
Yes, from a containing point of view, they have performed very well. We did have a couple of Haley headers that almost set up chances for Ali McCoist, but in the main area they've caught quite well. They haven't done an awful lot in the attacking sense.
The other transform in the attacking sense. Coyle charging forward, going down there, and not even insulting the referee by appealing there for a foul or a penalty at all. Timmy Boyle. I think he tried to surprise Andy Gorham with that effort. A very good servant, Boyle, to Airdrie. 3 good seasons. Came here as an orthodox right back following his Queen's Park career. Has shown his versatility since then. There's Brown. Robertson's going forward this time. Brown coming to the back. Return pass attempted there by McCoist, but the cover was there for Airdrie from Paul Jack. And I wonder, Billy, if Rangers sending one of the central defenders forward could make that extra man to open up the Airdrie defence.
Well, they're going to be asked to do that, and that's about job, because Rangers are going to, Airdrie rather, are going to pick up whenever they're not in possession, and it's going to be difficult for Rangers to break that down if they don't have movement from the back, and indeed I think they've got to maybe create a bit more width than they've been doing.
Here's Davy Kirkwood. Coyle has switched to the right, trying to get the better there of Durant. He knew it would be an Airdrie throw. So we're midway through the first half, and there's still no scoring in the Tennant Scottish Cup final. So Owen Coyle looking for space inside the penalty area. Just on it also there. It's won well by Brown. There's Kirkwood playing it in low this time. It almost fought his way through, and the Rangers defence very happy to scramble that to safety. Boyle shot, closed down there and blocked by Goff, but Airdrie enjoying a good spell of pressure here. And that cross brings it to an end though. David Robertson getting a call to Andy Gorham, let that run. But for a moment there, the Rangers defence looked to be in some trouble. came from the throw, came back from John Brown. This is a very good ball, played in low. The dummy attempted inside the area, and still it wouldn't run kindly for Airdrie. And the shot in the end from Boyle, well blocked by Goff.
That's exactly what Airdrie are after. They want to contain Rangers, and every now and then they'll hit them on the break. A good ball from David Kirkwood almost opened an opportunity up for them.
John Brown had to be careful there, and forcing Gorham to sprint. No sign there of that knee problem Gorham's been suffering from, and which requires treatment to ensure he can join Scotland in the European Championships in Sweden next month. And here's Richard Goff trying to pick out an accurate pass. It's not at all easy. The marking is so diligent and so tight among the Airdrie defenders. Now, you can criticise Richard Goff for that, but you must really give credit to the Airdrie defenders who made his task so difficult.
I think Airdrie will be quite happy leaving Rangers with the ball at the back, and then they'll pick up and they'll make passes difficult, and they'll hope that perhaps Richard Goff or John Brown might get a bit careless and they'll steal the ball from him and maybe pounce on an open chance.
We saw Archie Knox there on the track, the Rangers assistant manager. Clearly there is some anxiety felt in the Rangers management at the moment. Paul playing that into space, hoping to pick out a run from Ian Durant, but he miscued the pass. So Mikhalichenko has now switched to a wide left position in midfield. Durant's wide right, and that may be answering the problem posed there by Billy McNeil about width in the Rangers ranks.
Yeah, I think so. At the moment, I think Walter Smith is probably just a little bit concerned. He's having more problem with the tactics than Airdrie are. Airdrie are straightforward. They're going to mark, leave Paul Jack in at the back and try and hit Rangers on the break.
A long angle ball there from John Brown, helped on by Haitley for Spackman, who's made a very good run wide on the right. Trying to get the ball across. Mikhalichenko trying to control it, and Jimmy Boyle turned that back. Can Barton keep the ball in play? Linesman Bill Macri said he did. John Martin clearly believes he did. He even managed to produce a smile at this stage in the final. That's always a healthy sign. Jimmy Boyle with that lofted pass back. So John Martin still not yet called upon in the match to perform any heroics. We've had 26.5 minutes of the first half without any goals. Goes David Robertson and win that from Kirkwood. And you wonder too if the confidence will be rising in the Airdrie ranks. They've coped so well so far in the match, produced a couple of recent attacks and enjoying their role, I think, as underdogs. Jack lofting it forward. Kirkwood was offside on the near side. But Airdrie, who clearly did a lot of talking before the match about the importance of not conceding an early goal, have achieved that. There's instructions there coming from John McVeigh to Davy Kirkwood. But if Airdrie were low in confidence, Billy, that must have changed.
It certainly has. I think they've come along here, so nobody's given us a chance. We're going to do the things that we're good at. We're going to frustrate Rangers when they're in possession. We're going to have a little go at them every now and then.
Head flick on there by Haitley. Martin goes across to Gather. Ian Durant was the Rangers player trying to create a problem for him. Well, it really has been a tremendous comeback by Ian Durant. He started to show some excellent form in recent weeks, suggesting that he's not far from his best, his pre-October 1988 form. And he came by that dreadful knee injury. Here's McCall. Played along there by Boyle. That's a good pass. Lawrence is in behind Brown. Kirkwood's in the middle. Lawrence looks up. Tackled firmly by Brown. But again, there's encouragement for the Airdrie players and for their supporters. The Rangers defence appeared to be opened up rather easily once again. One long pass, and the pace of Lawrence gave them a chance. John Brown took a knock earlier in the match. He doesn't appear to have shrugged that off completely. And indeed, Paul Rideout has appeared from the dugout with Dale Gordon to do some warming up. And I wonder if John Brown may struggle to remain on the field. He's taken a thigh knock there. It's difficult to run off. looking at the dugout, indicating that he doesn't want to know about coming up at this stage. He wants the chance to run the injury off. There's clear anxiety on the bench about that Brown damage. Well, Billy, looks to be a familiar type of injury in the thigh. Can he run this off?
Well, it looks to be troubling him quite a bit. I wondered at Rangers' choice of substitutes. Now I know, because Paul Rideout can play at the defence as well as we've seen him, so he can have a go at the back. And that's perhaps why he was Walter opted for him rather than Hoostra.
Then long there by Kirkwood. There's Owen Coyle trying to find Lawrence with a header. Brown turns it back. Well, his own courage and determination may be foolhardy. Walter Smith has appeared now on the bench, and I think he may be making a decision for John Brown. Brown, a determined character who certainly lacks nothing in terms of courage, and he will want to remain in the field in this cup final, that's for sure, but I don't think the Rangers management will permit that. He's limping heavily, Brown. Paul Rideout has been warming up, and Walter Smith has clearly come down to assess the position from trackside. Here's David Robertson, a stumble by Kirkwood. Robertson plays it in low. Hickley! Rangers take the lead. Right on the half-hour mark. A very unfortunate slip by David Kirkwood in a vital moment, allowing David Robertson to set up Hickley for his goal number 23 of the season. Well, you'll see here, David Kirkwood was with David Robertson, and he slipped as the ball was in the air. He couldn't make a challenge. Robertson had time to pick out an accurate ball inside, and Hickley took the chance brilliantly.
It's a marvellous pass here, and Kirkwood it's a bad opportunity for him to slip in that case, but look at the space that Mark Haley had. You know, if you're marking, Gus Caesar must look at that and wonder where he got to, because he's allowed a very dangerous centre forward loose inside the box, and he's paid the full penalty.
Yes, Hickley running off Gus Caesar, who had performed so well in the early stages of the match, but Hickley isn't likely to miss a chance like that, and the pressure suddenly eases in the Rangers ranks. And indeed now it sets Airdrie a very serious problem. The feeling always was that if Rangers could score reasonably early in the match, Airdrie would have a very tough struggle, and that's the way it's proved. The fifth match between the clubs this season, and Rangers have won comfortably on 3 occasions without conceding a goal, and then there was one 0-0 draw at Broomfield when Oleg Kuznetsov was ordered off in January. But Rangers now will be thinking, I've no doubt, in terms of a second before half-time, because that surely would have the effect of settling the match. So John Brown still on the field. Ironic that Rangers should score at a time when there was so much anxiety about Brown's fitness. That's where all the attention was drawn from the Rangers bench at the time. But he must have some sympathy for the former Rangers player, Davy Kirkwood, who was denied the chance of challenging David Robertson by a very unfortunate slip. First time Robertson has been in a good open wide position in attack for Rangers in the match, and it was just the opening goal. David Robertson already has a cup winners medal 2 years ago for Aberdeen against Celtic. Goff sending it along, looking for Hickley. This time Caesar wasn't close enough to Hickley once again. Mikalichenko. That's good running by Mikalichenko, and a good effort. Well taken by Martin, who kept his body behind the shot, but Mikalichenko showing his skill and expertise here, running off Chris Honor on his right foot.
Yes, once again, Mikalichenko gets in a good shot here. Straight to the goalkeeper certainly, but a good powerful shot nevertheless. Interesting point. Whatever anxiety Rangers might have had early on has disappeared. That goal has worked wonders for them. They're a yard quicker in their step, and they're finding their men with their passes now.
This is a really important phase in the match for Airdrie. They cannot afford to lose another goal before half-time if they're to retain any genuine hopes And here's a chance on, but Owen Coyle is offside. Took the little layoff there from Lawrence. But the linesman Hugh Dallas below us had the flag up. And no argument from Coyle. Well, Rangers appear to be content to leave John Brown on the field for the moment. Paul Rideout has replaced his tracksuit bottoms. And that position will be assessed and no doubt at the interval. Goal, of course, taking some of the pressure off, and Durant's pace forcing Jack to concede the corner. Troubled moments these for Airdrie after an excellent opening half hour. They now face a one-goal deficit. Spackman back to Durant. Hayfley up for that. That's when he's so dangerous. He's thoroughly frustrated, Mark Hayfley. He clearly believed he should have done better in that position. A good angled cross this. Hayfley attacking the ball, and they're getting up so well. And he clearly feels he should have scored.
Yes, it's a marvellous cross. You can see it all the way. He certainly knows that he should have hit the target with that one, because he's got the ability to do that. But one goal in the cup final, he'll be happy for the moment.
Touch on there by Balfour. There's Mikhailchenko. The long pass back will reach Andy Gorham ahead of Alan Lawrence. Hayfley's layoff. Here's McCoy busting away from Kidd. Trying to chip that across towards Ian Durant. Difficult on this surface. Very true, but the film of grease on the top after all the rain, and Owen Coyle clearly irate about that offside decision. That applies also, I can tell you, to the Airdrie bench. John McVeigh coming off his seat, going somewhat berserk, having to be controlled by Hugh Williamson, the fourth official, down at the tunnel area. O'Brien appears to be running a little more freely now. And have a session of treatment at half-time. Layoff from McCoist. That's McCall. Gone back safely by Chris Honor. Getting his marking role on Mikhailchenko. That's proved to be tough this afternoon. John McVeigh still looking very upset and stern there, the Airdrie assistant manager. That came off Robertson's head. In goes ball towards Spackman. Plenty of time here for Richard Goff. Well, the long cup famine could be over for Rangers. Even Balfour has stemmed that flow of blood from the side of his head. Durant going deep. Rangers now perfectly happy to stroke the ball around and retain possession. The problems following that Hayfley goal are all with Airdrie. So Rangers can have all the patience in the world. Here's Goff. Turning the clock back, coming from that right back position. Here's Gary Stevens taking the pass from McCall. Well, the Airdrie defence was under, they opened up completely there by the run made by Gary Stevens and the excellent pass from Stuart McCall. And it's turned away there to the corner. Oh, Jack marshalling his defence again. Durant sending it across. Up goes Brown. There's McCoist. Well, a complete miscue there by Ali McCoist. He'll be very disappointed with that. It was a good opening by his standards. You see the ball breaks here from John Brown. There's time, there's space, but it was rather mulled there by Ali McCoist.
It's a little touch on from John Brown, and it's a good chance. And you would think a goal scorer like Ali might have hit the target there with a bit more power.
There's good running to the right by Hayfley. He's away from Caesar. They're queuing in the middle of the Rangers. And it's too close to Martin. McCall was waiting, so was McCoist. Well, Mark Hayfley again proving so troublesome to the Airdrie defence. So strong here. Shrugging off the challenge from Caesar. And the cross, a disappointing one in the end. Headed away there by Brown for an Airdrie throw. Scoreline tells the story. Mark Hayfley getting the goal on the half-hour mark. far ahead there of Alan Lawrence. The ball skidding away off the surface. So it's a very difficult task Alan Lawrence faces this afternoon, trying to occupy Richard Gough and John Brown all by himself through the middle. Yet they may think about changing that in the second half with this remain behind. A bit of rainfall now at Hampden. We've had all the seasons really in the one day so far. McCall holding off Boyle. There's Haitley. Played long by Boyle, and Lawrence is caught offside. Running off his marker too early there. Gough and Brown very confident to hold the line in defence. Brown playing that forward, and Robertson denied the chance of reaching it by the presence of the sweeper Paul Jack for Airdrie. Back goes Gough to collect for Rangers again. Well, with the score 1-0 to Rangers, this kind of possession poses no problems for Rangers. Just 5 minutes remaining in the first half, and a very important 5-minute period. A goal at either end in that phase of the game could have such a bearing on the outcome. Good free kick taken by McCoist. He's frustrated though by the fact that it was taken from a position about 5 yards away from the incident. Taken quickly again. Robertson's cross, up goes McCoist. The offside flag is up. It may have been McCoist, it may have been Haitley. Either way, it's a free kick to Airdrie.
It's a real testing time for Airdrie now, because just when they looked as though they had conquered Rangers, got them wondering what to do, they lost a goal. Rangers look much quicker, much sharper, much more confident now. Chances are coming to them. Airdrie's really got to dig in there, hold on until half-time, see what inspiration they can derive from half-time talk by Alan McDonald, and hopefully make a game of it in the second half.
Kirkwood again doing a good job in the air, getting in front of David Robertson to head flick that on. The unlucky Airdrie player who stumbled at the wrong moment and allowed Robertson to set up the opening goal for Haitley. That's in behind Walter Kidd. Haitley got across, followed by Caesar. Haitley attempting the cross, he has down the corner. Well, he's more than just the big target man, Mark Haitley. Has a fair amount of skill on the ground, and he's very quick indeed. The Rangers supporters out to enjoy the occasion. They're in by Durant. Up goes Haitley. Pressurised by Evan Balfour, and it was Haitley's header that sent the ball behind. It's a goal kick to Airdrie. Well, Haitley is the principal danger at the moment to the Airdrie defence, Billy.
Yes, he lost his marker to score the goal, which would obviously boost his confidence somewhat, and he certainly has over the early part of the game. He's meeting the ball well in the air, and when he starts to win those balls that are provided into him, he'll make opportunities for Alan Boyce. But over the piece, Rangers now look about a yard quicker than they did at the start of the game.
Frustration again for Alan Lawrence, who's been flagged offside once again. So Rangers playing with that flat back four, coming to no grief as yet. So a squally shower here at Hampden. As that ball is off the head of Haitley, says the referee. It's a goal kick to Airdrie. So the aerial shot of Hampden. 45,000 only inside the stadium. That's the capacity with the refurbishment going on. It's helped on by Balfour, then by Coyle. There's Mikhalichenko. In goes Balfour again. Coyle. Brown underneath that. He was definitely bumped well the ball there by Lawrence. The referee spotted that. And the sun has returned after that very brief shower of rain. Just adding to the difficulties on the surface. A little bit of extra grease on the top now. Gough coming to meet that bravely. There's Gus Caesar. Robertson takes over, allows Brown to have a breather. So So it's back with Andy Gorham, and Rangers appear to be content with what they have in the first half. What they have is the only goal so far. Up goes Spackman. David Robertson lashing the ball high through the middle. It's troublesome for Paul Jack. Boyle there with McCall. Good play by McCall. Unlucky with the pass wide for Stevens. Both former Everton players. Stevens with his medal for Everton, and McCall with a loser's medal, despite scoring twice against Liverpool 3 years ago. So in the final minute of the first half, Rangers leading by 1-0. And Airdrie content, I reckon, to go in at half-time, trailing by that solitary goal. They hadn't any real prospect of coming back from losing another, I reckon, so they've dug in again defensively. And that will allow Alec MacDonald to sort things out at half-time to see if tactics should be altered for a second-half comeback. So we're now going into time added on for injuries in the first half. There was a little bit of that early on. A couple of head knocks. Evan Balfour trying to leave the field for a plaster and a cut on the side of the head. David Kirkwood also needed some treatment, so there may be a minute or so to go. Gately and Caesar couldn't get to that. McCall sets up McCoist. That's a good effort by McCoist! And deadly finishing pays off once again for Rangers. Right on the half-time whistle, that may well be the killer goal in the final. And the quality of the pass should be savoured also when we see the replay of this goal. McCoy is getting his 39th goal of the season. The clearance from the area defence, indecisive. Two players getting each other way. But look at this ball, played quickly by McCall into space from McCoy on his left foot, and Martin hadn't a hope. What an excellent goal.
It's a good strike by Alan McCoy, but Airdrie made a real mistake there. Indecisive in defence, and they paid the full penalty. It's my feeling that the cup is only going to go one place now.
So McCoy comes off. The half-time whistle has gone. Mark Gately broke the deadlock in half an hour, and he took the pass from David Robertson to open the scoring for Rangers after what had been an excellent opening half hour for Airdrie. But that all changed when Rangers took the lead after half an hour. This pass from Spackman. Kirkwood slipped, Robertson chested the ball down, Gately lost his marker, and that turned the game Rangers' way. From that point on, Airdrie seemed to be determined to hang on to a 1-goal deficit, but Ali McCoy had other ideas with an excellent goal, which may well turn out to be the one which puts the match beyond Airdrie. So at half-time, it's Rangers in the driving seat. It's Airdrie 0, Rangers 2.
To pick up tight, to mark tight, to not give it an awful lot away. They've worked for them. It's difficult to see how they can throw them aside and get a result, because if they go away from the marking game that they've played, they'll open up acres of space for Rangers, and the way Rangers have now started to play will be bad for them and very, very difficult indeed. It's a difficult one. In some ways I feel sorry for them, because they had performed very well in the early part of the game. It just looked when they were getting into it, they lost a goal, and the second goal was really down to good finishing by Alan McCoy, certainly, but some very, very indecisive defending.
So there are no changes in either lineup for the start of the second half. John Brown has reappeared for Rangers, who carried that thigh injury for much of the first half, but was so determined to run it off. So referee Douglas Hope checks with his linesman. And Airdrie set off on this mammoth task for the second half of trying to retrieve a 2-goal deficit. And the ball immediately picked up by Spackman in midfield for Rangers. There's Paul Jack still in that sweeper role. And it will be very interesting to see what Airdrie do about this for the second half. They certainly have had a real tactical problem to resolve about how they change things to get back into the game. They haven't scored a goal against Rangers this season in the 4 league matches so far in the Cup. So it's going to be Tough task, and Owen Coyle is playing in an area of the field where the Airdrie supporters don't really want to see him, back there in the left back position for the moment. They want to see him up attacking, trying to add the 14 goals he scored this season. So Rangers with the remarkable record coming to this final, having lost only one goal in the run-up. That was scored by Phil O'Donnell for Motherwell in the 4th round at Ibrox. And John Brown running freely there, appears to have recovered from that thigh injury. Alec MacDonald there, taking his seat in the stand. And this Stewart getting up well. Here's Coyle, robbed by Stevens. McCoy playing it inside, trying to pick out the run made by McCall. That's Balfour. Kirkwood is in behind Robertson. Here's Kirkwood. It's well won by John Brown. There's Caesar. In trouble there, robbed by Mikhalichenko. That's why the recovery challenge was required from Honor. There's Chris Honor for Airdrie. Players in the box, but he couldn't find any of them with that cross. Again, just losing his footing as he made contact with the ball. That's what sent the direction wrong. He's headed on. Durant too deep to take advantage of that. And Walter Kidd lets the ball run. Well, he's sampled cup final disappointment already, Walter Kidd. 3-0 defeat when he played for Hearts against Aberdeen 6 years ago. A game which he didn't see ending because he was in the bath early. There's Durant. And now McCall. Mikhalichenko's made a run. Has played into space for him, and it's well taken by Martin. Paul Jack was caught in two minds there. Sweeper, and it was John Martin who came to the rescue of Airdrie with some good decisive goalkeeping. An intelligent ball that from McCall, and Mikhalichenko sportingly leaping over the keeper. It's escorted back for the goal kick by John Brown. Stuart McCall again showing a deft touch, which is not his main reputation. He's known as a terrier in midfield, but really a very effective footballer in that area also.
Well, I think that Rangers have conquered the midfield now. We've not really seen an awful lot from Airdrie in that department. And certainly Stuart McCall has been the springboard for many of Rangers' attacks. Played some very, very good balls through into the channels to allow Mark Hateley and Ali McCoy to break away from the markers.
And played the pass, which allowed McCoy to make it 2-0. Holding the centre of midfield was Spackman for Rangers. It's Hateley getting up. Durant having a long chase there with Sandy Stewart winning possession, the Airdrie skipper. Pass allowing McCall to make a tough tackle there. He was caught late by Jack. And McCall, to his credit, making light of that, getting on his feet quickly. So a free kick to Rangers. I wonder if Alexei Mikhalichenko may fancy his chances left-footed from here. Only two in the wall for Airdrie, allowing John Martin a good look at the ball. There's Mikhalichenko. Well, he's already demonstrated immense power from his left foot this season, scoring some spectacular goals as he endears himself to the Rangers supporters. So that's a look, long-range look at the Airdrie end of the stadium, the uncovered east terracing. Up goes Spackman. McCall picking out Mikhalichenko. Yet another excellent pass, which bounced at just the wrong place for the Ukrainian. The Rangers clearly quite happy in the early stages of the second half, just to keep things tight and calm and keep their rhythm and keep passes flowing. There are no heroics required at this stage from Rangers. Airdrie have all the answers to produce. Headed down by Stevens. Here's Ian Durrant. Back it goes towards Gorham. Satisfactory performance from Ian Durrant. Goff playing it along. Stevens has gone offside. They made that challenge. So Mark Hateley, the man who put Rangers on the road to victory with that goal in half an hour. Robertson's cross, making it goal number 23 this season for him. So here's Gary Stevens. Deutsch makes a run for the middle. He's offside. Allowed to run there by Kidd, whose experience told him that McCoy would certainly be flagged offside if the pass went into that area. Well, a colourful young Rangers supporter. A happy occasion for him to recall. Unless Airdrie can change things before the end. Out with Mikhalichenko, and now with Robertson. Here's John Brown. Durrant tackled on the rear by Stewart. Heavy challenge that, and the free kick to Rangers. Taken shot to Durrant. McCoy tries to come off Kidd. Well, no Rangers player able to take advantage of that dummy. Jack sends the throw back, and the singing comes from the Rangers supporters now. They're looking forward to a second half of celebration. And I'm sure they would also like to see a scoring flourish from their favourites. Jimmy Boyle beaten to that by McCall. Mikhalichenko playing it long. McCoy gives chase. Well, that was a little bit ominous there for John Martin. Had the ball bounced high there, he could have been in trouble. His judgment was good, and McCoy was denied. Robertson's header. Caesar there in plenty of time, but Hateley puts him under pressure. Well, Billy, if you were in the Rangers management team, what instructions would you have given at half-time?
Well, I think the important thing is they have got to remember and keep their discipline. And I think more importantly, they've got to shorten the game a bit. They don't need the long balls now anymore. They want to keep the ball and keep nice short passes. Don't allow Airdrie any possession. But most importantly, to keep their discipline at the back and not lose a goal and let Airdrie back into it.
Walter Smith not yet in celebration mood, obviously. Perhaps looking on anxiously there because Stuart McCall took a knock. A little exchange there with Jimmy Boyle when they were challenging for the ball a moment ago. Goss header helped on by Durrant. Stevens laying it down for Brown. This is Hateley. Well challenged this time by Caesar. Alan Lawrence trying one on the drop there. Well, he didn't strike that with too much conviction. Here at the back there, showing the diamond. As the ball broke off Owen Coyle. An awkward, difficult one that for Alan Lawrence. Alec MacDonald in the stand there. Hoping for something of a miracle, I reckon. Came off Stevens. 10 minutes of the second half gone, and the Rangers supporters going through their full repertoire of songs. Obviously, feeling no tension now about the eventual outcome. Durrant was held there by Coyle. Free kick acknowledged by Coyle. Call to Stevens. Misunderstanding there, allowing Boyle to win possession. Back challenge there, allowing Spike to pick it up. This is McCoist, faced by Kidd. And McCoy's felt he was impeded there by Walter Kidd, but it was Walter Kidd back in familiar territory in that right back position. They coped with that McCoy's manoeuvre extremely well. Stevens with a header. There's Sandy Stewart. All they could do was force the ball forward and give Rangers a throw. Bit of jersey holding there by Caesar perhaps, but there's no free kick given. Mark Katie looks towards the referee in disbelief. Alford getting up so well for that. Here's Kirkwood. Towards Coyle. It's just a shade too high. That just about sums up the Airdrie day in an attacking sense. Haven't been able to put too much together. One or two flurries in the first half. Coyle and Lawrence troubling the Rangers defence. Chinnock standing there looking fairly relaxed. In fact, in terms of the Scottish Cup final, extremely relaxed, I would say, at this stage. Caesar doing well against Hateley. Stevens, well challenged by Sandy Stewart. Hateley and Caesar wrestling there together. Hateley complaining to referee Holt, but complaining in vain. Caesar looks calm and unruffled. Helped on there by Kirkwood. Throw goes to Airdrie though. So to kick the final back into life, Airdrie really would have to think in terms of scoring in the next 10 minutes or so. Give them enough time to look for the equaliser. Goff trying to let that run. He's put under severe pressure by Balpa. The fireman in the Airdrie midfield. An uncompromising character. And a very effective player throughout this excellent Airdrie season. Helped on by McCall, but there's no Rangers player there to take advantage of that. So busy and effective in the Rangers midfield, McCall. Goff's header clear, there's McCall. There's Stevens and Goff, and possession very much the name of the game for Rangers. Certainly can't come to grief if they have the ball, and Airdrie being forced now to work extremely hard to get back into the match. They have sent Andy Smith and Wes Reid out to warm up on the track below us. There's going to have to be some alteration, and I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see the tall figure of Andy Smith thrown into the attack. The last big effort to save the match.
Airdrie have got to do something, because at the moment Rangers are simply coasting. They're not bothered too much about lifting their game. They know they've got the game won, and at the moment Airdrie really need a goal desperately to get themselves back into it and give themselves some hope. I think a change is imminent.
So an offside flag against Owen Coyle, giving a free kick to Rangers. Here's John Brown. And Mikhailchenko taken from the rear there by Honor. He seemed to feel that all right. Former Bristol City defender. Cost £20,000 only. An excellent piece of business that was by Alec MacDonald. Mikhailchenko, on the other hand, cost more than £2 million. So any damage inflicted is of an expensive nature.
He certainly didn't miss him anyway.
Very powerful figure though, Mikhailchenko. And he's written some tough challenges in his time. This is another one. The ball is played up here. He's trying to control the ball as Honor comes through him to make that challenge. Rangers management team smiling there. The character Mikhailchenko. Lofted in by Spikeman. Up goes Haitley, and the first-time effort from Ali McCoist would have been spectacular. Well, he's looking for another goal to tie the Tennent's Scottish Cup goal-scoring record for this season, because Jerry Craney is still a goal ahead of him. He needs one more to catch him, and that was a very quick attempt. John Martin with that diamond formation in the back of his head. Visit the hairdressers this week, obviously. One or two of the Airdrie players showing their commitment to the cause. Spikeman playing it along. That's too far ahead of Durant, though. Skidding off the damp surface. And McCoy's not only looking for his 5th in the tournament, but his 40th of the season. And what a fine record that would be for any striker, even though he's playing in the league championship side.
Yes, it's a magnificent scoring record, and we saw another indication of why Ali scored the goals, because that little head flick from Mark Haley almost gave him another one. He's very sharp inside the box, and you really have to mark him very, very tightly in there.
And he's also prepared to miss, which is another great quality for a striker. McCall to Stevens. Good play from McCall. He appeared to be fouled by Boyle. The referee didn't think so, and he had a very good close-up view of that. So Richard Gough turning there to encourage his teammates to maintain their discipline and make certain that there's no slackness creeping into the play. Kidd misjudged the flight of that ball, but McCoist couldn't take full advantage. Jack playing it along, McCall coming in late there. He's been penalised. So there's going to be an alteration made by Airdrie. The next minute or two, they're going to bring on Big Andy Smith. And he will replace... Not that someone certain who he's going to replace. It's going to be a change made with Alan Lawrence being withdrawn. I'll have to confess to being slightly surprised about that, because it means a change in the attacking pattern, of course, because there's no point in sending long high balls to Alan Lawrence, and that certainly is worthwhile with this man on the field. Former Peterhead striker, scored a hat-trick in the earlier round against Huntly. Goff's header. Here's Stewart, put under pressure by McCall. Goff beaten to the high ball by Balfour. Smith's first touch. Closed down well there by Stevens. Here's McCoist. Playing that into the path of David Robertson. Spikeman's made the run through the middle. It's turned away by Paul Jack. Nigel Spikeman playing with boundless energy again in midfield. Spikeman, of course, in the losing side for Liverpool against Wimbledon 4 years ago in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Experience he doesn't want to repeat. Is Haitley helping it inside. Swept away by Kidd. Smith wins the high ball, but there's no teammate ahead to take advantage. Now Goff. Mikhailchenko. McCall. Too far ahead of David Robertson. But still no signs, Billy, that Airdrie have any ploy which can seriously trouble Rangers' defence.
No, I think they've got a basic style of playing, and they find it difficult to alter that. They're still playing that man-marking game, sweeper in behind, and looking to catch Rangers on the break, which really hasn't happened very much.
Sandy Stewart trying to lead by example, stopped by his opposite number, the Rangers skipper Richard Gough. This is Durant. McCall calling for the ball in the middle. McCall goes down as he collides with Coyle. Spikeman's little flick on allows Gough to break. Spikeman took a knock there from Balfour. Here's Haitley with a very unusual attempt on goal. The way in which he did it, I mean, not the fact that he's reluctant to have a go at goal. Spikeman's in some trouble here as Gough plays this inside. There's a good little head flick on from Ali McCoist, and Haitley trying the outside of the left boot to play it towards the corner. So Spikeman took a heavy challenge there from Evan Balfour. That's why he requires that little spell of treatment. But none of these players, of course, will want to be withdrawn before the end. They want to be on the field. At the cup presentation, Archie Knox talking to Gary Stevens, being pulled back by Hugh Williamson, the fourth official. McCall, Durant, Spikeman couldn't control that. Boyle was able to send it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Ball was dragged out of play there by Andy Smith. He was very determined in that challenge on Brown. So Airdrie looking to throw high balls in for Andy Smith to flick on for Owen Coyle, I think. And to do that, he has to get the better of Gough and Brown in the air. This is Brown. Takes the return pass from Gough. Good running by Hateley and by McCoist. He's on his own for the moment. Needs support inside. Durant arriving rather late. So McCoist was very happy to allow that to go out for a corner. But both McCoist and Hateley still offering plenty of hard running upfield for Rangers. Midway through the second half now. We're in the final quarter of the game. Karachenko wins it back there from Honor. It's out with Durant. Back to Spikeman. Well, you can see how determined he was to keep that down. He's trying to get over the ball. He managed that, but couldn't get the direction. Cross in there from Ian Durant. It was forced out by Jack and spinning awkwardly as it reached Nigel Spikeman. Heavy downpour again at Handon. Not dampening the spirits of these Rangers supporters, but adding insult to injury perhaps for the Airdrie fans of the East Terracing uncovered. There's Paul Jack. Headed on there by Balfour. Picked up easily by McCall. There's Durant. Stevens. First comes Hateley. Trying to turn away from Caesar. The throw goes to Airdrie. Good long throw by Caesar. So the ball thumped out by Ian Durant. It's a throw to Airdrie. And John McVeigh, oblivious to the all-hand rainfall. Still living life to the full in this cup final. Remarkable freak of weather this. There's rainfall apparently on one side of the ground and it looks bright and sunny on the other. Here's Walter Kidd. Up goes Robertson. Here's Mikhailchenko. Robertson hurried into that clearance, playing it off Kirkwood. Robertson with a throw short for Brown. The ball was out of play though. Airdrie have a chance here from this throw. Caesar returns the ball swiftly, and it's a chance for Airdrie to use the aerial power of Andy Smith in the box. So a bit of nudging going on as the ball was in the air. Evan Balfour has been penalised. Although Brown won the high ball. Well, Balfour still enjoying himself despite the scoreline, which is Airdrie 0, Rangers 2. We've had 25 minutes of the second half of the 10th Scottish Cup final. 20 minutes left for Airdrie to work a miracle. And we are entering a phase of the match where fatigue is liable to set in. It's too high for Hateley. But the Airdrie players really have been forced to work so hard they could begin to struggle in the late stages.
Well, they can take a lot of credit from the game in the sense that they've made life very difficult and very awkward for Rangers. It's unfortunate for them that both goals that they lost were perhaps down to little errors and little mistakes, but certainly they have worked hard. They've made Rangers' task difficult, and perhaps that's why it's not the spectacle that we all had hoped it might have been.
There's Gary Stevens. He scored that spectacular goal against St Mirren a week or two back, looking to get his third of the season. So it's a throw to Rangers, which Stevens will take, and quite apart from winning the cup, which is obviously the single most important thing, Rangers will want to do so in some style, and they certainly have the opportunity here because they have lots of possession. They have a team which is justifiably beginning to tire against them, and they also have the determination of the front two, McCoist and Haitley, to keep looking for openings up front. And at the other end, can Andy Smith inspire a comeback for Airdrie with his robustious style? He's beaten that time by Goff. Good pass that from Haitley. Here's Mikhalichenko, trying to hold off the challenge there, and he was held clearly by Balfour. It's a free kick to Rangers, and there will be a little gentle word of warning, I'm sure, for the Airdrie midfield player. Referee Douglas Holmes, though, quite content to do with that word of warning and not add to the 101 yellow cards shown to Airdrie over the season. So a free kick for Rangers. Goff has gone forward. That indicates Rangers' desire to get another goal before the end. It's back with Mikhalichenko. And now Spackman. Good play by Nigel Spackman. There's Durant. Delightful play there by Durant also. And John Martin anticipated that move brilliantly. It was first-class goalkeeping, and it had to be, because the Airdrie defence is undoubtedly exposed by that fine piece of play involving Nigel Spackman, who had the vision to pick out this pass, and Ian Durant, who had the vision to make the run. So the corner kick swerving out there for a goal kick to Airdrie. But another glimpse of Ian Durant at his best.
Airdrie needs some inspiration. They really haven't been in the game to any great degree the second half. But there is always the sensation that maybe somewhere along the line they'll catch Rangers being careless, and perhaps the big lad Smith will upset them a little bit, and perhaps Owen Coyle will sneak in. But they haven't given us any more than just a little suggestion that might happen. And we saw a little move from Rangers that almost brought them another goal.
Evan Balfour there leaving the field. Now remember, he had a cut on the side of his head in the first half and lost a lot of blood. And it looks as though the wound has reopened. That's why he has been taken off to have some further treatment. But he's such an important player that there's no question at this stage of Airdrie replacing him. But checking him very carefully there, though. John Binney there looking on anxiously with John McVeigh on the left, checking to see if Balfour can return to the fray. And the answer is that he can, as Brown heads clear for Rangers. Spackman playing it forward, across goes McCoist. Challenged by Walter Kidd, 54 years old, but still full of enthusiasm and determination. That's good running again by McCoist. And he's stopped in the end by Sandy Stewart, but so effective. And that run through the inside left channel. Good pass again from McCall. Gathered, full tilt there by McCoist. Good defending in the end from Sandy Stewart. This time Richard Goff has not gone forward. He's allowed John Brown to do so, though. There goes Haitley. And Martin being very careful there to keep the ball out of the goal. Quarter now remaining in the final. Rangers leading by 2-0. The first scored by Mark Haitley. Here he is trying again for another. And carefully watched by Martin. So one from Haitley, one from McCoist. That separates the teams at this stage. Rangers' last Scottish Cup victory back in 1981 when they beat Dundee United 4-1 in a replay after The draw in the first match when Ian Redford missed that dramatic last-minute penalty kick. There's McCall. It's back now with Stevens. 5 championships out of the last 6, and no cup glory. That's all about to change, I think. Brown to Hateley. And Gus Caesar running with him. Hateley complaining that he was fouled, but the referee had a perfect view of that and saw nothing wrong with Gus Caesar's contribution here. Here was Hateley. Well, he appeared to hesitate just for a second. Caesar going to play the ball. John Brown has no qualms about a simple clearance, putting the ball into touch, and winning it from Andy Smith. Well, it's going to take something out of the ordinary from Airdrie now. 13 minutes left, 2-0 to Rangers. Jack taking too long in possession, allowing McCoy to clear up with his own Coyle. And the tackle came from Spackman. A corner kick to Airdrie. Well, what a dramatic finish we would have if Airdrie could find the net. And for the corner kick, Rangers have pulled everyone back inside the penalty box. It's a measure of their diligence and their respect here, taking no chances. Gorham makes a good punch. Through the 6-yard box. Interception made by Kidd, but the pass intended to reach Ali McCoist. Kirkwood playing it in, forcing Brown to make the clearance. David Robertson looking towards linesman Bill McRae, asking the question about whether or not the ball was out of play before Kirkwood pulled it back. Started his career at East Fife, moved to Rangers, then to Hearts, and now to Airdrie. Kirkwood. There's Coyle with a snapshot. Coming through a ruck of players. Gorham watching it very carefully, going into the side netting. Andy Gorham's had precious little to do in the Rangers goal this afternoon, and he was able to watch this go wide.
It's a good header out by John Brown. And Owen Clark picks it up well, but he doesn't quite get hold of it. Certainly not enough to trouble the goalkeeper.
Here's Richard Goff, closed down very quickly by Smith. Goff not entirely happy with the movement ahead. Felt that he wasn't given enough options, perhaps. Great layoff from Hateley. Durant taking that of the run, but playing the ball into space occupied by Paul Jack, the Airdrie sweeper. Well, if Airdrie are going to make the headlines now, they'll have to do something really special. 11 minutes left for play. 2-0 Rangers lead. As Kirkwood helps the ball on. Stevens. Cloist. And a bit of holding there by Balfour on Spackman. Free kick taken quickly by McCoist, who wants the chance to score more goals before the end. Stevens playing it towards McCoist. The supporting player was McCall, but the early defence stands firm. Well, it's quite clear, Billy, that Ali McCoist is desperate to get more goal-scoring opportunities.
Yes, he's looked very hungry indeed this afternoon. Took the chance that he got well and has threatened on other occasions. But, you know, Rangers are coasting at the minute. They're confident they have the scoreline they want. They're confident that Airdrie don't have the ability to take it away from them. Every now and then they lift their game, and when they do lift their game, they cut through Airdrie's defence like a hot knife through butter.
But it still hasn't produced any goals in this second half. That really would be music to the ears of the Rangers fans if they could see more goals before the end. There's Walter Kidd with a header out. Cleared by Jack. There's Kirkwood. Space over on the far side there for Chris Honor. 10 minutes remaining. Here's Andy Smith. Tackled strongly by Richard Goff. Smith and Coyle for a brief second there looked as though they might create an opening. And David Kirkwood breaks there for Smith, and at the substitute celebrates. These Airdrie fans have cause now for optimism. Suddenly, the cup final has been blasted wide open. Davy Kirkwood with that long-range but it was blocked. It fell to Andy Smith, and that gave Andy Gorham no chance at all.
It starts with a good strike here. It gets a little deflection, falls on his back. Not an easy ball to hit. What a marvellous strike with this young man. This has really opened up this game with, what, some 9-10 minutes to go.
Well, what a view of the goal, which left Andy Gorham helpless. And Davy Kirkwood shooting power paying off again. It seemed to break off John Brown, but what a finish it was from Andy Smith. And it's one which throws a lifeline to Airdrie. They now have 8 minutes in which to take this final to extra time. Well, Andy Smith getting his 9th goal of the season. He was ordered off against Rangers back in February. The acrobatic effort there, the header from Airdrie. He was offside, it wouldn't have counted, but that doesn't detract from the quality of the save from John Martin. Well, David Robertson playing this in low. It was controlled well by Ali McCoy to that overhead effort. Hateley's header brilliantly saved.
Yes, it's an interesting little move here. Ali McCoy plays it across the goals. I think he tried a shot in actual fact. Good header from Mark Haley, but what a magnificent save from the goalkeeper. He's had a good game. He may have been slightly at fault at McCoy's second goal, but other than that, he's had an impeccable game.
The replay is showing, I think, that the linesman was absolutely right about that offside flag. John Martin couldn't defend on that, though. Off goes Davy Kirkwood, and on comes Wes Reid, signed just a couple of months ago from Bradford City, and he will go into that wide midfield role, vacated by Kirkwood. Fresh pair of legs. So 7 minutes plus injury time left for play. It's 2-1 to Rangers, and suddenly the complexion of the game has changed. There's no offside here. Andy Gorham coming out to halt Andy Smith, but any feeling of fatigue experienced by the Airdrie players has gone completely. They now see the opportunity here to cause a major upset. The Airdrie supporters now have reason to celebrate, and they certainly have justifiable cause for optimism. Could there be a dramatic ending to the match? Here's Gus Caesar, and Hateley gets there. Paul Jack drags the ball away from McCoist. Well, Airdrie can't afford any kind of mix-up like that in defence. The third for Rangers would surely seal the cup. Header back by Smith. This is Balfour, now Coyle. Balfour again. Promising play once more from Airdrie. Well, disappointing cross. No one there. Chris Honor pulling it across the front of the 18-yard box without any Airdrie player able to take advantage. So there's going to be a change now made by Rangers. Going to bring on Dale Gordon, I think. Gordon stripping off now to join the action. Well, are Rangers going to be punished for appearing to be content to sit in that 2-goal lead in the second half? There's McCall. Hateley going across with Caesar. Push by Hateley. It's a free kick taken quickly by Caesar. Hateley trying very hard to end the match as a contest for Rangers, but that hasn't been possible as yet. Airdrie are right back in it. Headed away by Brown. Paul Jack's header. McCoy's trying to get round Walter Kidd. He couldn't make it. Cut off by Goff there for Stevens. Stevens now stepping outside Andy Smith. The substitute has earned his corner with that excellent goal. Yes, Paul Jack. Breaks now in the midfield for Sandy Stewart. This is Balfour. And Coyle. Reid has gone ahead. Still Reid in possession. This is promising again for Airdrie. Where's Reid? What a fine effort by the substitute. And suddenly Rangers are rocking. A match which was so much within their control for so long suddenly looks less secure as Wes Reid thundered that shot over the bar. So Ian Durant is coming off. He's done enough. And he will be replaced by Dale Gordon. So there shouldn't mean too much alteration in the Rangers' pattern of play. But Reid here so determined, holding the play up, winning the ball from goal, stepping away from Gary Stevens. Had the shooting chance here. Played long there by Honor. Headed by Brown. 3.5 minutes plus injury time remaining. Rangers leading by 2 goals to 1. But Airdrie undoubtedly now with their tails up. Walter Smith has joined Archie Knox now on the bench, and anxious look at the watch there by Archie Knox. Things looking different all of a sudden. So Airdrie again trying to work an opening there from midfield. Boyle sends it long. Coyle trying to get in there behind John Brown. A bit of pushing on Brown. The referee allows the advantage with Gorham in possession. The clock ticking on here. Into the closing 3 minutes. Anxiety there on the Rangers bench. Walter Smith returns to the director's box. Plenty of singing again from the Rangers supporters. They clearly still believe the cup has been won. But they are battling right to the end. The man of the match award has been confirmed by the sponsors, tenants. It is Mark Hateley who has won that. Hard to argue with that in the light of his performance this afternoon. After 2 losing finals in France and Italy, he looks to be on the brink of the winner's medal. After a fine performance, here's Gary Stevens. Spackman breaks through the inside left position. This is Dale Gordon. Good running by McCall inside. Forward it goes to McCoist. First touch let him down, but he's determined enough to win it back from McCall. Spackman caught late there by Evan Balfour. Will the referee take an indulgent view? He does. Although he's warned the Balfour already, he seems determined now not to show a yellow card. Well, he certainly could have for that tackle, coming on the end of a few others like it earlier in the match. Referee Douglas Hope hasn't yet booked anyone in this final. McGough with the free kick, looking for Hateley. He's beaten to the ball by Caesar. There's Nigel Spackman. Chris Honor comes to meet that. Played the ball out though for a throw. So the clock ticking on now towards the final minutes. There will be a little bit of stoppage time. Can Airdrie use it well? So there's the indication that we have 1 minute left for play. And a bit of injury time, perhaps a minute or so of that. Headed away by Caesar, helped on by Balfour. He didn't catch that properly though. He's given possession back to Rangers, who will take plenty of time, I'm sure, about this throw. David Robertson strolling over to collect the ball. He's all set to collect his second Willers medal. And these Rangers supporters clearly convinced the trophy is to be won. Hateley's header. Forced forward by Balfour. Reid looking for Coyle. Brown escorts the ball back to Andy Gorham, who reassures him that there is no imminent danger. Coyle still looking for a glimpse of goal before the end, but time is running out rapidly for Airdrie. They have to throw everyone forward now. We're into injury time. John McVeigh coming out, still wants one last supreme effort from his team to save the match, but they're not going to get it. Rangers are the winners. Very little injury time. Mark Hateley, the sponsor's man of the match, shakes hands with his Airdrie opponents. He scored the goal which opened the way to victory for Rangers with a fine goal in the half hour, and Ali McCoy's popped up right on half-time with an excellent left foot volley to put the tie, or put the final apparently beyond Airdrie, but that reckoned without their resilience, and Andy Smith came on as substitute to score a fine goal near the end, which threw a lifeline to Airdrie and gave them the basis for a late flurry to try to save the game. But it's these Rangers supporters who are able now to celebrate, because Richard Gough will collect the Scottish Cup in just a few moments and bring to an end a magnificent season for Rangers. So Richard Gough, after disappointing with Dundee United and with Tottenham Hotspur, will collect the trophy. Walter Smith, who's also faced final disappointment in his career, both with Rangers and with Dundee United, and he now is in position to talk to Rob McLean.
Walter, it's been a long wait. How are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously relieved it was over. We made a wee bit heavy weather of the game, especially second half there, but I'm just delighted that we've got the cup.
What did you think of it as a game to watch?
I don't think it was a bet. A lot of time, a lot of nervousness in the final. I felt our players showed a lot of nervousness. They had been confronted with a situation where people were telling them that they were going to win 4 and 5-0, and I think that put quite a bit of pressure on them to live up to that expectation.
Real killer goals in the first half.
Yeah, there were 2 good goals. Came at a time when, you know, the game hadn't really settled down, the first one, and I thought that gave us a little lift. We had a couple of chances then, and then scored the second one, and obviously we're delighted.
It's been some year for you, hasn't it?
Well, it's been a good year. I hope it's a good night for us anyway.
Well done, thanks very much.
Thanks, Rob.
So very happy and relaxed Rangers manager Walter Smith, facing a number of interviews he'll face now. The Rangers players now wait while the runners-up Airdrie go up to collect their medals, and they can do so with great pride and distinction. They've had a marvellous season. 7th in the Premier Division, Sandy Stewart leads them through. Skol Cup semi-finalists, Scottish Cup finalists, and Andy Smith there, the player who almost gave it a dramatic finish with that excellent goal. And very warm applause from these appreciative Airdrie supporters, and that is thoroughly justified. So Wes Reid there goes through, the other substitute. Alan Lawrence came off early, clearly looking disappointed, but they've no reason to be other than totally proud of their performance this afternoon. They were unlucky when Dave Kirkwood slipped to allow David Roberts to set up Mark Hateley for the opening goal, and then fought an uphill struggle all the way from then on. Walter Smith with that handshake for Richard Gough. They've been together so frequently in their career, coming together at Dundee United so many years ago. So wait for the reception now for the Rangers players as they come forward. And these Rangers supporters have waited 11 long years for this moment, which is coming up shortly. The wife of the SFA president, Peter Gardner, Mrs. Christine Gardner, waits to hand the Scottish Cup to Richard Gough. So 2 trophies there to collect. The Tennent's replica trophy also, the sponsors. But here comes Richard Gough to collect the trophy. And it's congratulations to Rangers, the Tennent Scottish Cup winners for 1992. Applauded all around the stadium. The climax to a wonderful season. Richard Gough reluctant to let that trophy go, collecting the second one, the Tennent's replica trophy. So clutching both trophies, and he doesn't appear to be too willing to pass it down the line as is normal and traditional. Indeed, he won't do that. He's keeping it all to himself, at least for the moment. So after that 11-year interval, Rangers have won the cup, and Ally McCoy's huge grin tells the story of his joy. He scored what turned out to be the winner right on the half-time whistle. Alexei Mikhalichenko, clearly a happy man, and Paul Rideout, the substitute, who did not come on. So the trophy presentation has gone on. These Rangers supporters waiting now to begin the celebrations in earnest. So the Rangers players coming back onto the field, a huge smile on the face of Archie Knox there on the right, Davy Dodds on the left. Remember, Archie Knox and Walter Smith played together for Dundee United in the losing final of 1974 against Celtic. And the Scottish Cup held aloft by Richard Gough. And the Rangers supporters will be hard to dislodge from Hampden while their favourites remain on the field. So yet another triumphant photograph for the press and for the newspapers tomorrow. So they've won the double for the first time since 1978, when they beat Aberdeen in the final, having won the championship. It's been a long, long wait, 14 years for the double, and all the hard work put in by Walter Smith and Archie Knox paying off with this triumphant moment. Any thoughts now of the Scottish Cup jinx totally dispelled? The Rangers now going to take the trophy around Hampden Park. So coming down to the East Terracing End where the Airdrie supporters are congregated, but a lot of Rangers fans also in this area of the ground in the southeast stand. Rangers having the bulk of the supporters, of course. Ali McCoy completes his set of medals with his Scottish Cup winners' medal. Mark Haitley gets his first winner's medal in senior professional football. Nigel Spackman makes up the disappointment playing for Liverpool against Wimbledon in 1988. And the Rangers players applauding the fans for the support they've given throughout the season and throughout this final. There appears to be a mixture there of Rangers and Airdrie supporters in that corner of the stadium. So the Rangers players going round have left their principal support in the West Stand till the end. The goal scorers holding the trophy aloft. Ali McCoy stunned Mark Haitley, parading the Scottish Cup to the supporters. And they are supposed to remain on the field of play for this lap of honour. They're not supposed to leave the pitch to go on the track. SFA regulations indicate that. So Mark Haitley clutching the cup trophy, but here's the Rangers captain Richard Gough with Rob McLean.
Richard, you've known all about losing cup finals. This must be sweet.
Very sweet indeed. I don't think we played very well on the day, Rob, but you know, we got the result. That was the main thing at the end of the day.
2 timely goals in that first half.
Yeah, well, first one by Mark Haitley, second one, the crucial one just before half-time. And then we tended just to play out the game instead of going for the third goal. And it nearly cost us with Airdrie getting a good goal with maybe 10 minutes to go.
Credit to them.
Definitely, definitely. They made it very, very difficult for us.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
So very happy Rangers captain, having tasted defeat in finals before for Dundee United and Tottenham Hotspur, savouring this moment. Sean Brown now has the trophy as he shows that to the Rangers fans. So there's no rush about this lap of honour for the Rangers players. Alexei Mikhalichenko is certainly enjoying the spirit of the occasion. Andy Gorham too. Moved to Ibrox for the opportunity to win trophies. Walter Smith looks on calmly. Yet another success in his management career. And Ali McCoy is now the natty bit of headgear, and he with Mark Haitley is talking to Rob McLean again.
2 losing cup finals on the continent, but you've won here, Mark. How do you feel? Man of the match as well.
Yeah, very pleased. I say for the club, it's been such a long time since we've won this, you know, and as you can hear, everybody's over the moon. So pleased for everybody associated with Rangers.
Not maybe the most glamorous of games, Ali, but it's the result that matters, obviously.
That's what, as the gaffer said, he's played very well, and his teams have played very well in a few cup finals and never won one. But I told you we'd do it, Dad, didn't I?
That was the medal you badly wanted, of course.
Oh, that was the one that completed this magic result, magic.
And that completes a marvellous season for you as well, Mark.
Yeah, it's been a good season all round for myself, the team, and Alistair. We've had a good run this year, and hopefully we can continue it next season.
Well done, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
So the happy goal scorers for Rangers there. Mark Haitley got the first in half an hour, and Ali McCoy scored in 45 minutes. And they rejoin the teammates now as they go round at the West Stand area. So all these scarves materialising, and supporters' hats collected by the players, and they're coming all the way around, savouring this occasion to the full. So the Super Ali chant goes on. Walter Smith now with Nigel Spackman, who's been such a valuable servant, joining the club nearly 3 years ago, performing so well. Mark Haitley took some time to win over the Rangers supporters, but that's been achieved comprehensively now. All the ball boys there collecting mementos of the occasion.
Fairy tale finish to the season for you.
Well, it's been great for me the last couple of months, and as you see a fairy tale end of the season, I can't ask for any more.
How did you enjoy the game?
Well, I don't think it's one of the better finals, but as I say now, we've ended up winning the cup, so that'll do for me.
And obviously looking to build on this and maybe get a full season next season.
Well, hopefully I'll get a good pre-season behind me, and then after that we'll see what happens, but I'm really looking forward to next season and establish myself.
Are we sure about tonight maybe?
Oh, just a couple, I think.
Well, it's been a fairy tale end of the season, as Ian Durant says, for him. Coming right back to his best rapidly, and next season could see him at his very best.
John, a loser in 89, this must make up for it today.
Yeah, I said to Alan McCoy this week, we've been in Scotland most of our careers, and we're just happy to get this medal. It's made the set, and it's a big relief, Hazel.
It's probably a good job for your family too. Your wife Diana was telling us you were a nightmare to live with a few years ago after you lost.
Well, it ruins your summer if you get beaten the last day of the season. Scottish Cup, especially against Celtic, haven't had a successful season, but this has definitely made up for it this year.
What a season, doing the double after, what, 14 years, amazing.
Yeah, it's great for the club, it's great for the fans. They've missed it for the last 11 years. I was in the terraces the last game here, and a very proud moment.
How much of a relief is it, do you think, to Rangers that having buried this cup hoodoo today, John?
Well, it wasn't the best of performances. I feel we got through it. You're just happy to get the win, and that's the first one, and I hope it continues in the distant future.
Thanks. 2 drinks tonight, John, thank you.
So the Scottish Cup in the hands there of Walter Smith, the Rangers manager. Clearly a very popular figure among his players. He's done a splendid job since assuming responsibility in Grahamson, as Campbell will be there with Donald Finlay, 2 of the Rangers directors in the stand, enjoying the moment also, with Rangers winning for the 25th time. They've won the Scottish Cup, and for Walter Smith, a moment I'm sure he'll never forget. Billy, fascinating final. Airdrie contributed hugely in the end.
Yes, at the end of the day, no one can have any criticism of Airdrie. They worked very hard, made life awful for Rangers, and when Andy Smith scored the goal, they certainly gave us the impression that they might have got into extra time. At the end of the day, I feel the scoreline was perhaps just a little bit unfair on Rangers.
So the Rangers supporters there now showing their final appreciation for the management and for the players. That's what it was all about, the Scottish Cup. And for Walter Smith and Archie Knox, a moment of real joy, as you can tell from the expressions on their face. So it's Rangers who are the 10th Scottish Cup winners in 1992. It's been a final which Airdrie have graced with great distinction, but it's Rangers whose power won in the end. Rangers getting home by 2-1.
The traditional scenes of celebration following a cup win, red, white and blue ribbons in the cup after an 11-year absence. But I suppose we would have to say, not striking a down note necessarily, that it wasn't the greatest of finals, Murdo, was it?
No, I don't think so. Obviously Rangers would be a wee bit disappointed in their second half performance. There was no pressure on them, they'd scored the goals, and I felt they could have pushed forward, maybe got other goals. And they put themselves under pressure and they lost the goal near the end. Normally you'd want to finish a final, the last 10 minutes, knocking the ball about and enjoying it with your fans. I think they felt the pressure.
Yeah, it almost looked, Derek, as if both sides had settled for 2-0.
Well, certainly Rangers had. Airdrie obviously trying to get back into the game, and full marks for them at half-time. They tried to push forward, they tried to get that goal. It's just a pity for them they didn't get the goal maybe 10 or 15 minutes earlier and really put Rangers under more pressure. But Alex McDonald should be proud of his team as Airdrie fans, because I think everyone at half-time expected it 2-0. It may well be 4 or 5 here. That never ever looked like it in the second half.
That's right, yes, Airdrie came back very well, and Andy Smith had come on as substitute, scored the goal, and a very good goal it was too, Murdo.
Superb strike there, but it was well blocked. Look at that. The ball's 2 feet in the air and he's caught it perfectly. No chance. Mind you, I think it took a slight deflection just to beat Andy Gorham here.
Yeah. Andy Gorham had virtually nothing to do all
No,
afternoon.
he never had a save to make. See, the ball was just nicked by him there.
I actually headed it out there, Dougie, in that angle there as the ball came in.
Wonderful view of it.
Tremendous strike, yeah.
Yeah. You can't argue. The Rangers are, I don't think there's any doubt, the best team in the country, and they've done the double, and you can't argue with that.
Well, even when they don't play well, they still win games, do you? I think that they proved that here this afternoon. They were never ever going to lose the game. They were always on top, but they get a bit complacent after half-time. They thought at half-time the game was won and stopped playing, and that Airdrie in the end maybe find themselves a bit unlucky not to get another goal and go into extra time.
When the game was in one of its flat periods about halfway through the second half, they were discussing who might be man of the match, and there must have been a dozen contenders, because I don't think anyone was outstanding. But Mark Capely got it in the end.
Yeah, I think it was very difficult to pick a man of the match. Nobody really stamped their authority, knocked the ball about, made good passes. Derek and I were just saying we felt the referee was superb. No disrespect to the players, but I think the referee, beforehand, the game was labelled as if there might be trouble. Airdrie's past record, they were superb, no trouble at all. He maybe could have booked somebody near the end. He handled it very well.
So is this a historic moment then, Derek? Are you actually giving praise to a referee?
Unfortunately, yes, I am. I thought well, we never spoke about him the whole game. That means he had a good game. I thought he had an excellent game. Mike Murdo's right. Airdrie have come here with a terrible record, disciplinary-wise, and it wasn't a dirty game at all today.
Yes, absolutely no evidence of it. It's almost frightening, and you're at Easter Road, you've got to take on Rangers next season and try to stop them doing it again, but they've such strength and depth, Murdo, that it's hard to see them not repeating the feat or coming close to it next season, isn't it?
That's right. Obviously, it's just hopefully if we could match them maybe a one-off game like we did last season in the Skull Cup semi-final. But I think over the 44 games, when it comes to anything, they've got such a strong pool. Even as she said, they didn't play so well today, they're still good enough to win the Scottish Cup.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, we've been running our Man of the Match competition, and I'm delighted to say with between 10 and 11,000 of you called in to record your suggestion as to who it might be, either before or during the match. Several of you, understandably, went for Mark Capely, and electronically the numbers went around, and up came Clive Thompson from Newton Mearns' name. So well done to you, Clive. We'll be in touch with you. You'll be headed out to Gothenburg to see that Scotland-Holland game on June the 12th. Well done indeed to Clive Thompson. Commiserations to everyone else, especially the others who went for Mark Capely as man of the match. Well, of course, there was also another cup final in the south today at Wembley, the Liverpool-Sunderland game, which beforehand had very much of the same air about it as this final, with one side starting very much as favourites. Nothing each at half-time. Let's pick up the highlight.
When you can wash all this and this with one 2-kilo pack of Surf Micro Plus.